Mike Anderson, it's a big pleasure to have you here. You've become quite a force in the space of developing entrepreneurs, supporting the growth of SMMEs in South Africa. You have a very interesting event coming up, the Business Show, and we want to know what we can expect from it.
Thank you, very grateful to be here, and thank you for what you guys do. It's important. The Business Show coming up on the 2nd of August. It's the largest one-day event of its kind in Africa. It's all about someone starting a business or someone who's in business and wants to become a successful business owner.
Sure.
So that's the fundamental concept of the event. And of course, right now we're sitting on just over 18,000 delegates coming from all over South Africa. And the event is filled with networking, seminars, workshops across the board. So it's a place to be, and it's how to get ahead.
But this is now a separate one from your usual summit that you host each year, which I attend, which I absolutely love because it's just so power-packed.
Correct.
How is this different?
My Business Expo is hosted in February. This is an extension of My Business Expo, now 6 months apart. So in essence, we do two similar shows twice a year because of the demand.
Yeah.
For example, in February at the My Business Expo, we had just over 36,000 delegates. We can't take any more delegates because the demand is so strong. We decided to put a show 6 months apart, hence the 2nd of August this year. Next year it'll be a 2-day event as well. And we're already at capacity. And of course, we're very excited about that.
Sure. Mike, how would you describe the current political, economic environment in South Africa in terms of how it supports or hinders the growth of SMMEs and entrepreneurs?
You know what, we always try and talk to an SME about, the business owner or the entrepreneur, is that we've got to focus on the internal factors. We cannot change what's happening out there. We
Sure.
cannot change politics, we cannot change bank charges, we cannot change taxation. But what we can do, if we learn to conquer ourselves, we can conquer the world. So of course, through the political cycles and the economic cycles, it goes up and it goes down. But no matter who we are, if we've got what it takes and we keep moving and we never stop trying, we will get to where we want to be.
So it's about resilience, it's about adapting to a winning formula
100%.
in order to run a successful business in
100%.
South Africa. How do you help entrepreneurs?
Importantly, first of all, through our massive surveys that we do, we understand the needs, the challenges of the business owner and entrepreneurs. And then whatever we do at the NSBC, we focus on these challenges. For example, the #1 challenge in South Africa, and it's consistent around the world, is the inability to build a customer base and boost top-line sales.
Sure.
Here again, through the year, we allow our SMEs to network, to meet others, to find new solutions, new ideas. So in that way, we can build their customer base and boost top-line sales. The #2 challenge is access to funding. There again, we also try and educate our SMEs. Do you really need to borrow money? Try not to borrow money. Try to start from a zero budget or build your business on a zero budget through the cycle process. And of course, technology. How to use technology on a shoestring budget to build a successful business.
Do you measure yourself up as well as the NSBC in terms of your percentage of successful entrepreneurs that walks through your doors wanting assistance to
Yes.
build a sustainable business?
Yes, and yeah, we measure on our retention. You know, if you look at our retention of our members year after year, it's extremely high. Unfortunately, we cannot save everybody. We can do whatever we can to try and keep someone in business. And we as a country, collectively, have to look after the job creators. 2/3 of our working population work in a small business. Small business is the mainstay of our economy. And there again, for our responsibility is the sustainability and the growth of the sector, which is extremely important.
In terms of trends and innovation out there in the market, how is the nature of doing business in South Africa changing? How is the environment challenging the traditional approach
Yes.
to actually doing business?
You know, if you look at the last 20 years, and I think here again, I'll bring it in again. If you look at how technology has come into the play in helping businesses build their business, if you look at social media in the last few years, how it's become an important part.
Is it an important part? Some say it isn't.
You know, we believe it is. If you look at, and I'll share with you with the NSBC, NSBC is very strong on social media. If you focus on the key factor of helping others and not using it as a sales processor,
Sure.
and you're there to help others, then you're using it in the correct way. For example, our Facebook, we have 190,000 followers, our Twitter is high, our Instagram is high. And here we're engaging with our members all the time. And of course, our own success, one of the very reasons why we've grown so successfully, we have to say social media has played a very big part of that process, and of course other digital platforms. So specifically now in the last few years, digital, online, social media has come into play in a massive way, and now is a huge force for SMEs.
Sure. So I suppose it comes down to how you actually utilize social media, because from personal experience, I receive so many invitations from businesses, like my page, etc. But it's so hard to actually really keep track of what they're offering. And you tend to actually forget.
100%.
Or you tend to ignore because you think, here's another business and I'm here to socialize.
100%. And you know, now with digital, the important side for an SME is you can become competitive with any size business. You can use the digital, professionalize your business, have a domain, have a nice signature, have a professional website. So whether you're a big corporate or you're a tiny business, you can now compete on the same level because of the digital exposure. So what we've got to do as SMEs, we've all got to professionalize our business. Very important. And
professionalize it on social media so that you can actually capture the market or a part of the market.
Yes, have that perception of a major player. And
I think that's where people are getting it wrong. They're using social media to just advertise products as 100%. Opposed to actually going out there professionally with a strategy in place, I suppose.
Yes, use social media. You know, for example, if you've got a dog kennel as a small business, you know, share with people how they can improve the health of their dogs and help others. Don't market your dog kennels. Help others who have got pets and how they can enhance the very lives of their pets. Or if you run a body shop or whatever. So utilize social media to educate and help others in your own space. And at the same time,
have topical conversations, I suppose.
100%, 100%. So there again, digital, we can go from zero to hero in a matter of days on just about a zero budget and become a mainstream player through professionalizing your business.
Sure. How important is personal development when it comes to bridging the gap between where you are and where you need to go in terms of the vision to become a successful entrepreneur? There's a very famous neuroscientist, for example, who says, in order to bridge the gap, you have to become a totally different person. Don't 100%. Assume that if you learn a few tricks of the trade, etc., you might realize it. But you really have to evolve as a person and let go of your own misconceptions of what it's going to take to get there. Do you agree with that?
100%. We've got to challenge the status quo. We've got to do things differently. We've got to learn new things, try new things every single day. If we keep doing what we've always been doing, we'll only ever have what we've got. And none of us, I don't think, want what we've just got right now. The passion of the human being wants more, but we cannot get more as an entrepreneur or as a business owner if we just keep doing the same thing. So we've got to challenge the status quo. We've also got to believe in ourselves a lot more. We've got to build up our confidence levels. How do we do that? Start thinking small, or the magic of tiny steps. Yes, always think big, but adopt the magic of tiny steps. So in actual fact, every time we set a goal, we win at that goal. We've got to soar with the eagles that fly high. What do? Get rid of the toxic elements in our life. We've got to surround ourselves with people who believe in us, with people who are positive around us. These are the kind of things we can go on and for a little longer and talk about these key issues. But of course, these are the areas that we need to seize so we can grow and become successful.
It sounds easy, but as an upcoming entrepreneur myself, those tiny steps, taking those tiny steps can be quite a challenge. Because you're so focused on the big vision, you want to reach out and grab it almost. And you've got to actually force yourself to become disciplined to focus on the small steps that actually add up.
Absolutely. And you've got to, you know, no matter who we are, as an entrepreneur, we're going to hit obstacles. I like to call them obstacles as opposed to failures. There's no perfect curve to the top. But if we remember one thing, if we keep moving and we never give up, we will always arrive at where we want to be. Unfortunately, many people throw in the towel or they fail and they don't come back, and of course the consequences are devastating for their own families and their, of course, financial position. But if we want what we want so strongly as an entrepreneur, we know the goals, what we want to achieve. But if we can just keep moving, we will get to where we want to be.
It can be quite an emotional journey as well, which is why I suppose a lot of entrepreneurs throw in the towel.
Absolutely. And of course, you know, when things are not going so well, and as a business owner, whether you're the husband or the wife or whatever, the elements around you, if things are going well, are going to just about force you to change direction or throw in the towel. So many a time it's your immediate surroundings in your family that will push you to the limit of throwing in the towel. But this is, of course, it becomes very emotional and very personal. But it just depends on what we want to.
Sure. I want to touch on briefly on the importance of partnerships.
Yes.
Or rather, what would you say, what advice would you offer to people before they enter into partnerships? Because I find through my own interaction with entrepreneurs, a lot of people get excited. They enter into partnerships with people they know, friends, family, etc., and it just doesn't work out. Where are they going wrong? What would you say are the essential considerations that a person, an entrepreneur, should take into account before entering into a partnership with someone?
You know, we see that in our own research. On many occasions, partnerships go the wrong way. And I think the reason is that you've got to look at that partnership for a very special reason. What are my strengths and what are your strengths? And of course, if I've got, for example, I might have a very strong financial background. You may have a very strong sales background, the ability to become a rainmaker in the business. I can really manage cash flow and manage the accounts and keep that in order. And of course, if one can put those qualities together and do what you do best, then there's a good reason for a partnership. But on many occasions, partnerships are formed out of emotion and friendships. And that's not a really good reason to create a partnership. And some partnerships are created out of money. For example, I might have a great idea, but you've got the money to support the idea. We become partners and we move ahead. And even then we try and say is, you know, try and start that business on a shoestring budget or on a zero budget. Try not to create a partnership out of that. But of course, some businesses, depending on what it is, cannot be started. For example, you cannot start a vehicle manufacturing plant on a zero budget. So it all depends. But one's got to really look deep and hard into the partnership and who you want to partner with before going, because it becomes irreversible as time goes on.
And it would be important to actually form a formal partnership agreement, put it in writing perhaps even.
100%. The key essence is, you know, use the right people, adopt and get hold of a great attorney who can assist you to formalize, to create that partnership, to put everything together. You cannot have a partnership on a shake of a hand.
Yeah.
It's got to be formalized by a professional attorney and cemented. So you both know where you stand and you both know where you're going, of course.
How have you changed or transformed as a person in terms of where you were before you've taken this great journey with the NSBC to actually found this great institution that's playing an important role today?
Yes, you know, many years ago, I lost everything that I had. I mean, I even lived in a cave for a short while. So, but there's one thing that I never lost, that I always knew I would come back. Not from an arrogant perspective, but from a self-belief perspective. And I had the opportunity to come back, and I did come back in a big way. I'm very grateful for that. And then I sold out my organization to an international company, and then I decided that for the rest of my life, I want to help others, help other SME entrepreneurs not to go through what I went through. So when I started the NSBC, I had one vision. If I could help one small business in one small way every day, then I would be successful. At that moment, I never realized we'd have 127,000 members and become the fastest growing organization of its kind in the world. And for me, this is not working. It's an amazing journey, helping so many people. And the people that we help every day is hugely rewarding for us. So we're very grateful as a team to do what we do and the importance behind what we do.
Well, it's always inspiring being in your presence.
Thank you.
I love attending all your events, and I'm really looking forward to attending the business show to see what you're going to unpack for us.
Yes, no, thank you. And it's on 2nd of August, and it's a big one. And of course, it's targeted to anyone who's seriously about starting a business, or a business who is there and who wants to build a successful business. And there's great speakers, great networking, and it's going to be a hive of energy and activity.
Looking forward to it, Mike.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful.